Samsung and Apple are first and second in the worldwide smartphone market. The company that has been well established in third place is Xiaomi, and its strategy is a dual smartphone one, with flagship Xiaomi series and the affordable Redmi series. I've had the chance to test out two new phones that each cost less than $400. Hello everybody, this is Matthew Miller, otherwise known as Palm Solo, and for the past couple of weeks, I've been using two new Redmi phones that are now available, although not quite yet, in the US. So I've been testing the Redmi Note 13 Pro 5G and the Redmi Note 13 Pro Plus 5G. So we'll talk a little bit about both of these new Android phones and their prices, the differences, the things that are the same, that kind of thing. So I've got the Note 13 Pro, that is this one here in ocean teal, and the Pro Plus in moonlight white. Let's first talk about some of the things that are the same between these two phones. Both have plastic frames, and if you can, when you look at these closely, the plastic frames are actually matte finish, and they're very rugged and durable. A nice plastic frame. This one on the 13 Pro Plus actually almost deceived me into thinking it was a metal frame, but as you can look around it, there are no antenna lines in it, and if you bang it against your teeth, you can tell that it's plastic. Plastic frames, they do have Gorilla Glass Victus front displays. They both have 6.67-inch AMOLED displays that are capable of up to 120 Hz refresh rates. So those are high quality displays for a affordable phone. They also, on the back, a little bit different arrangement, but they have the exact same triple camera system. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit more. They both have NFC, so you can use Google Pay with it. They also, on the top, have IR transmitters, which is something we do see in some more affordable phones. We no longer really see that in the flagship phones. The differences between the two, the lower priced one, the 13 Pro, has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 processor, and the more expensive Pro Plus has a MediaTek Dimensity 7200 Ultra processor. There's a little bit faster ROM, a little bit faster internal storage on the higher end model. The 13 Pro has an IP54 rating, and the 13 Pro Plus has an IP68 rating. So both can be used in the Pacific Northwest where I'm at. If you're out in the rain, you can still use it for calls and such. And even if a phone has an IP68 rating, I do not recommend spending too much time underwater with it on purpose. Put it in a plastic bag or some other kind of case. So that's the main differences. Another difference is the 13 Pro does have a 3.5 millimeter audio port on the top, which we do not see on the more expensive one. They both use USB-C for charging. They both also come in the box with high capacity chargers. One has a 67 watt charger, the other one is an 80 or 120 watt charger, so plenty of power to charge these phones quickly. The software is the same on both. They're both currently based on Android 13 with the Mi UI interface on there. I'm not a big fan of the Mi interface. It's a little bit overwhelming. There are some key essential basics in there, but then they throw on a lot of different colors, and the settings are all arranged in a nonsensical order, in my opinion. Unfortunately, there's also a lot of bloatware on here. We find several games, several utilities, additional apps. Most of those can be removed and uninstalled from the phones, but there's a couple things that are not removable. It's just a time sink to have to spend some time with that bloatware that's on the phones. But when I talk about the price, it's hard to complain at the price that they're selling these for. So I mentioned the cameras. They both have the exact same cameras on the back, a little bit different arrangements, as you can see here. And this is one area where we often see a compromise in the mid-range or low-range affordable phones. Is it usually has most of the basic specs, a little bit lower processor, but then they always compromise on the camera. The cameras are usually just okay. Well, these cameras are both 200 megapixel OIS and EIS cameras with 4x optical zoom. There's also an 8 megapixel ultra wide and then a 2 megapixel macro camera on board. And the software that Xiaomi includes on here is pretty extensive. There's all kinds of different settings, different modes, and then a bunch of other things to make it a very creative experience for you, with filters and even editing tools and such. So it's a very powerful camera experience. And I took a bunch of sample photos. I did some macro, I did some low light photos, some landscape type photos. And to be honest, it was very hard to tell the difference between shooting with these two phones, my iPhone 15 Pro Max, Google Pixel 8 Pro. The pictures that come out of these two cameras, or these two phones with these cameras, are actually fairly comparable. So they're not compromising much on the photos at all. And now for the price. So these aren't yet on Amazon as of the time of this video. Amazon's usually one of the best places to find these phones as far as availability. There's actually a Xiaomi store on there, so you can find them. And they come unlocked and ready to go with, I've used it with T-Mobile, got my 5G connection. You can always use it with other MVNOs. So the more expensive 13 Pro Plus is priced at around $400, and the 13 Pro is down at about $304. So there's about a $100 price difference between the two. Now, with the camera experience being the same, the only reason you're going to want to go for the higher end one is if you want some of that slightly maybe faster performance, but the same ROM options and storage options are available. And personally, I like the flat display on the 13 Pro. The 13 Pro Plus has that flagship curved display that a lot of people like, and it does feel nice in the hand, but it's also a little bit harder to find screen protectors on there, and it can be more susceptible to damage. Both of these devices in the box that I was sent do come with screen protectors on board, so there is some screen protection right out of the box. But I do like the squareness of the 13 Pro, and that price is tough to beat, $300 for a fully unlocked GSM Android phone. Phones under $400 typically compromise on the camera performance, but in my comparison pictures that I've taken, Redmi shows that doesn't always have to be the case, and you get pretty dang good photos out of both of these phones. The savings is made in the frame materials, the processor, and maybe some of those other things like that, but they're more preference-based rather than substantial. And in my day-to-day use, I saw no performance lag or anything else on these phones. Now, I wasn't trying to push the limits with active gaming or anything else like that, but these phones do quite well, especially at that $300 and $400 price. They're rather stunning specs and features for this low price. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I hope that you will subscribe to my YouTube as I continue to build it up. Thanks everybody for watching, and may the mobile force be with you.